This is Lawrence Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection and another installment of our Cars and Coffee. So lots of neat cars here, and today particularly we've got a real disparate group of machinery, and sometimes sometimes for these events it's all red Ferraris, and that's it. But I think this Saturday morning we probably have the most unusual group of cars. So let's start to go through these here. So 2010 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider, a beautiful example of a late model exotic. Pearl white is beautifully reflecting the sun here, and chocolate brown interior. Great car. Its sister car, which is the Superleggera. So this is a new 2011. And they would have had a Gallardo Superleggera. This is a 564 Superleggera. So lightened, a little bit raw, carbon fiber interior, and Alcantara. The big carbon fiber rear wing. Really a visceral machine. Fast car. Runs on our compound tires. Amazing car. 430 Spider, and this is kind of a neat example. Most are paddle shifts, but this is the 6-speed manual, which I mean, is there a more evocative shift gate than that? No, there isn't. And this one's unusual in that it has a two-tone interior too, and so the Daytona seats are reversed in their pattern, which if you look carefully at other Daytona seats, you'll notice that they'd normally have the red the red details with the circular cutouts, and this one has black. But anyway, it's nice to have a car that's a little bit different, even if it is still a red Ferrari. Beautifully done, or beautifully preserved 355 Ferrari. We've seen this car before. It's a barn find Texas car, and this is a Pre-A 356, which dates from the early 50s, and Continental. And the owner of this has done like cars that are on the lawn at Pebble Beach, so he can do perfect cars. He did the Seata that I think you've seen in one of my earlier videos, and Moretti, double bubble Abarth. So he's into kind of Italian Etcetterinis. And but he decided to just leave this one alone, like in the spirit of the new preservation classes, to have a car that's more a historical artifact than a completely redone car. So anyway, he's done the mechanicals just enough to make it work, and it's a great car. 66 Beaumont, so some American muscle, and I like to see a great variety of cars here. So got the ubiquitous flames on it, and but a nicely preserved car. BMW, lonely BMW 850 sitting in the corner, and examples of the early 90s 12-cylinder Tour de Force BMW. We have a 993 twin turbo Porsche. So this is the last of the air-cooled turbos. Absolutely a future collectible, and this guy, isn't fooling around with the Hoosier R compound tires, and obviously he takes part in the track work and so on. And you really, actually, I know the owner of this pretty well, and I've raced against him. You don't want to compete against this car and this driver, actually. So we have a Mercedes 220 SE Cabriolet, and so they would have called this the ponton cars. And ponton, it's got something to do with the structure of a bridge and how it relates to something in the chassis. I forget exactly. I had a 219 once, but forgot all the details. And so this body style could have been a 180 diesel. It could have been a 190, which was a 4-cylinder gas engine. It could have been a 219, which would have been a 2.2 liter 6 on carbs, or it could have been a 220, which was the 2.2 liter injection engine, and that's what this is. Did they make a 220?
Yes.
Did they make a 220 carbureted car?
Yeah, it's a 220S.
That's a 220S. So the SE is N Spritzer. And then when you got a cabriolet, you got the what does the pontoon refer to? Something, the structure, something like
This is the shape of the ponton.
Ponton.
This is this shape here where the fin tail is like an old Chev.
Okay, and so what did it relate to? Something about a bridge, right? Something about a bridge structure?
I can't remember.
All right. So anyway, of course, the 180Ds didn't look like this on the inside. So this is like lavish 50s wood and leather. This would have been first S-Class Mercedes. No, that's wrong. There are 300 SCs from the early 50s would have been that. And this, I believe, is a 62 car. So this car was in a rally and ran into a sandstorm in the middle of the desert and was basically sandblasted. So it just got a major freshening. Here's my V8 Aston Martin. We've seen this car before. 1976. This is a 4 Weber twin choke carbed 5.3 liter 4-cam engine, and I'm really enjoying this car, although I do have it for sale, but it's not because I don't like it, but because I have too many cars and not enough money. And we have Aston Martin V12 Vantage, so the smallest Aston Martin with the biggest 6-liter engine in it. Runs again on our compound tires, really visceral machine, great soundtrack. Yet still doesn't beat the hell out of you. You can still drive the car. And then we have a couple neat Lamborghinis. So this is the SE and in the bright. I think they're all in purple. And how many did they make of these again? 150. So this one has the blue suede interior. And like I said, if you're going to have a Lamborghini, you might as well have it in blue suede. Hey John, how many of they made 150 of these, but how many with a blue interior?
Oh,
or do you know the records?
Well, this is the only U.S. car with a blue interior of Alcantara.
Yeah.
And the rest were European. So, with the blue interior like this, it's a good question.
Okay, you don't have the records. And there were other interiors, but the SEs always had the purple, right?
There were, as in exterior?
Yeah.
No, they were purple, black, red, and I think there's one yellow, the right-hand drive English one, which is the yellow wheels. But this one, in Europe, if you had a purple car, you probably had the blue Alcantara.
Okay, so there is a selection of a few colors then for the 150.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. You're on YouTube, by the way.
I am? Oh.
I stand corrected. They're not all purple. There were a few colors.
That's right. There's a few different colors.
And then
this is the anniversary color.
This is the anniversary color. Okay. So I only know about half what I'm talking about. And then this is the 25th anniversary Countach. So this dates to 1990, 1991. And this car, I think, was delivered new into the Middle East somewhere. I think the owner showed me once there was still sand in the headlights. So it's the quintessential poster for every teenage kid in the 80s. So this car resonates pretty highly with me, even though I'm not sure that. Well, it's obviously not one of the most practical cars in the world, and I guess I've never driven one, but I guess they're just an absolute beast to drive. But super cool car, and I'd maybe like to have one once. And really neat car. Okay, and then we usually have we're fortunate, really fortunate that Fred Phillips shows up with some of his cars, and we've seen lots of them. His McLaren M6 GT road car. He has a whole bunch of one-off cars, and he's got a bit of an AMC thing. So this is an AMX prototype car. It's one of 2 built, and this car has an amazing amount of unique details in it. It's built by the Italian company Vignali, who might be more familiar to you for the a Vignali-bodied early Ferrari or whatever. But if I've got most of the story right, and there's a whole book on this car, is that it was an experimentation for a glass fiber bodied car, and uniquely about this car is that it doesn't have any A posts in it. You know, this is just the windscreen surround, and so they would have experimented laying up the glass fiber, and so with the roof cantilevered over the front, and they needed to make it strong enough so that if it was in a rollover, that the occupants would survive. And I think they tested it, and it's not strong enough, and it doesn't work, and it never made it into production. But some of the neat things about this car are, it's got a ramble seat, not a rumble seat, but a ramble seat. So these seats in the back fold flat. This window comes up, and this rear panel then folds all the way up, and you can sit people rearward facing in the rear of it. And then to get in, you have these little steps, and then you climb in the back of it. And so it's got a plastic windscreen. It's got a one-off body, one-off dash. Every little bit of this car was made by hand. We've got concealed windshield wipers for the first time. This panel pops up, and the windscreen wipers are in there. I don't think you want to do that because it's a plastic windshield and it would scratch. We've got really funny little details like this hood spring, the sprung steel. And then we've got a unique kind of one-off AMX engine, AMX motor in it, a V8 engine. And these headlights are then concealed as well under these flaps, so they'll pop open as well. So, and this car is a 1966. And anyway, it's a really great car. Here comes a lovely 280 SL Pagoda. Now that car I know because it only has 3,000 miles on it. So it has to be one of the lowest mile Pagodas existent. And he actually found a good place to put it next to the Mercedes 220 SE. So there we go, a really interesting group of cars. We've got a barn find, we got an American muscle car, we've got an AMX prototype, we got a couple poster cars, the Lamborghinis, some great, wonderfully preserved old Mercedes, and another fine morning at the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada. And thanks for viewing. Lawrence Romanosky.